one of the scary things is it shows you that the day before Pesach was like the peak of the deaths. Like you look at it, it's worth watching. In other words, the peak went up like that week, and the week of Pesach was the highest number of deaths in New York. Anyway, it was pretty scary. So let's hope we don't go back to that.
Amen, Doc. I don't know. In the Midwest, it's exploding now. I guess like it took a while to travel through the Poconos or something.
Right.
Yeah, all the places that didn't have it at first, you're getting it now.
Right. Well, I mean, everybody has different perspectives, but the way I look at it right now, there are vaccines that at least the companies claim are extremely effective. So let's try to keep safe for the next few months, and then we can go back to our old ways of all the things we were doing wrong. But for now, let's try to, I think, just try to make it through, stay safe.
Oh, man.
That's the hope for sure.
Right. Anticipating starting anytime soon?
One can only hope.
You can anticipate all you want, Doc. You know what they say? Man plans and God laughs. Gershi, are you still in New York?
Yeah.
Get over to Tzviako's house and tell him to sign on already.
He's in Jersey.
He's home.
He's not at home.
Oh, he's not even at home. So why do you say 8:15? He's driving back from where?
Attention.
He's got a phone with him in Jersey.
He's not driving back anywhere. He's giving it from New Jersey. He's not. He's with his whole family. Give the guy a break.
He's here.
He's muted. Rabbi Stein, you're muted.
Sorry, some technical difficulties. You hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yep.
All right, sorry about that. Good work.
Fine, we can hear you, but we could also see Simon, so it's not, it's a trade-off.
Sorry about that. I let you listen. I gave you a few minutes to spend more time with Simon.
I already yelled at him.
Yeah, it was a few more minutes than we needed.
Oh,
he got
sorry.
annoyed.
Then I'm really sorry.
He got annoyed.
Doesn't take much.
Okay. All right. Ready to roll?
Yep.
Okay, so new parak. And Mike Austin, how's it going? Okay, so new parak. A lot of lumdus. A lot of kashrus. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so first bunch of blood talks about Issurei Hano in the Torah. Yes, it says, the Mishna kol shosh mutter lechol. At whatever time that it's mutter for you to eat, machal abeim l'chayil oifes, or machal l'nochri. So on Erev Pesach, whenever it's mutter for you to eat chametz, and then you're allowed to feed it to the chayil oifes and sell it to a guy. Mutter ba'ana. The Gemara is going to ask, what's the chiddush? I'm saying, if you're allowed to eat it, so of course you're allowed to. Why wouldn't you be able to benefit from it? Over zman, right? Once the time passes, then it becomes assur. So assur ba'ana. It's assur ba'ana. V'lo yasik by Tanna v'kirayim. You're not even allowed to use it as fuel to put on your fire. Ain't be your chametz al asreifer. You do this. So now we have a Machlokes. How you get rid of chametz? Ain't be your chametz al asreifer. Your chametz is with streifa. Even you can even grind it up and throw it into the wind, or put it into the water. Meaning, you don't have to. About that, they hold that burning is okay too. They just say you don't have to do that. Right? You don't have to be machmer to do that. You could just grind it up and throw it into the air. Okay, so that's the Mishna. So the Gemara says, "Kol shoshem mutter lechol machel." It says any time that it's mutter for you to eat, you're allowed to feed it. Kol shoshem eini mutter lechol eini machel. That means that whenever you're not allowed to eat it, then you're not allowed to feed it, which means that there's no middle ground. Remember, we had a bunch of blot ago that there was a middle ground. There's like the 4th hour, then there's the 5th hour, and then there's the 6th hour. And there were shittas that held that the middle ground, you could benefit from it, but you can't eat it. So like Rabbi Yehuda, let's say that's not like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, there's the 5th hour according to Rabbi Yehuda, that you're not allowed to eat it, but you're allowed to get hana from it. The Tran Remeir Reimer, you could eat the 5th hour, you burn it in the 6th hour. Rabbi Yehuda says you eat it the whole 4th. It hangs the whole 5th. And you burn it, you get it 6th hour. So that it's obviously not Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara says, okay, so who must be Rameir? Ve'elamai Rameir he? So then it's Rameir. So why do you have to say this complicated, use this complicated terminology of I kol shosha mutter lechol machel, right? Kol shosha oichel machel, brother. Why do you have to say at whatever hour it's mutter to eat it, you could feed it? Why not just say kol shosha oichel machel? Anytime you eat it, you could feed it. Right? You don't have to put in that extra word mutter. The Mishna is Rabbi Gamliel. The Tanna Rabbi Gamliel Leimer. Moshe, you need a Gemara?
Yeah.
My seat where I sit in the shul is a Gemara.
Machel, when we say machel, it's only talking about feeding others, or it's about all forms of hana.
No, machel means hana. It doesn't mean feeding humans. It means feeding animals, right? It means feeding animals. Yeah, no, good question. Yeah. So again, so I'm Rabbi Gamliel. It's Rabbi Gamliel. The Tanna Rabbi Gamliel. I'm Chulin nechol and kol arba. Chulin's the whole 4th. Truma kol chamesh. Resavan tchila sheish. V'achi kamer. And this is how you have to learn the Mishnah. Kol shoshem mutter lechol koyin b'truma. As long as the koyin is allowed to eat truma, right? Because he gets an extra hour. Like I don't want to bring up bad memories from last week, but we don't want to burn the truma any earlier than we have to. So Rabbi Gamliel says you give him an extra hour. And then Michael Chulin lebehem l'chayla oifus. So when you're allowed to eat truma, when the kohen is allowed to eat truma, you're even allowed to feed it to animals, but you're not allowed to eat it yourself, right? So that
the kohen's giving his truma to animals, so
the kohen can l'chayra, right? Yeah. So whatever it is, we said a bunch of blot ago. I don't remember when, but we said that Stam Mishna here is like Rabbi Gamliel. So l'chayra we pasken like Rabbi Gamliel. Right, okay, it's not negayah nowadays with the truma, but that's what it is. Fine. Now the Gemara goes through the what's the pshat of the Mishnah. Now, before we go weiter, it says the top taisus is interesting. Over zman is also bahana. The first taisus in the parak.
Excuse me, Yaakel, did I have an extra hour to burn truma? Nebizman is there? Nobody eats the truma, but they take truma.
Taka, I have no idea. Usually they take it off. They take it off before it became chametz, I think. So I don't think it would be negayah. It's taka true. You're right. I think we would pasken like that. I would think so. Anyway, so the top taisa says over zman is also ba'ana. So once the time passes, it's also ba'ana. Let's say you sell your chametz to a guy, right? And is the money that you got from it also ba'ana? Right, so Taisa says also limkar b'mochar damav mutarin. The ain't typhus as damav. It's not typhus. Like certain things, like avodah zara. Let's say you have an avodah zara.
You sold it while it was mutter.
No. We're talking about even after.
You can't sell. You have to burn it.
Okay, are we talking about the regular sale of chametz that we do?
No. We're talking about a guy
on cholamoid.
Yeah, cholamoid or on pesach or anything. A guy has a
Don't
box
you have to burn it then?
Bread. He has a
Did
box
we say you
of
have to
bread.
burn it?
Yes, but we're talking about the guy didn't burn it. The guy, this guy's not getting the Tzaddik of the Year award. He's not getting the Tzaddik of the Year award, right? So he sold it, right? Now that money.
In one of his offices in the Bronx, he found a sandwich he forgot to burn. He found it on. He had to go into the office cholamoid to do his boss a favor.
And then he sold it.
Why do you have to make everything personal?
I didn't make it personal. I'm just giving a to him so that people understand.
He didn't say it was your sandwich.
Anyway, no.
He's just trying to make you understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're not allowed to do it. You're not allowed to sell. You're right enough, You're not allowed to sell them. But let's say the guy did sell the chametz. So let's say, okay, in Yonah D'Yoma, right? It's holiday season. You take an avodah zarah and you sell the avodah zarah, right? Which you're not allowed to do because you have to destroy it. But you sold it. Now, what's with the money? Do you have to destroy the money? The answer is yes. Right? What about chametz? You sold chametz. You sold the bread. You shouldn't have done it, but you did it. Now, do you have to destroy that money? Tosfos says no.
Why not? It doesn't burn.
Okay, so take it up with Tosfos. What should I tell you? What do they say?
What more is it than money?
Naftali, I'm with you.
Good. No, what it means also bahana. No, because to answer your question, you got Aaron Zweig on your side, then I'm not ganging up on the two of you. Okay, but I'm going to try anyways. Okay, but anyways, also bahana means you take your chametz and you use it to hold open your door on Pesach, right? So obviously you're not allowed to do that because you're not allowed to own the chametz either. But let's say you take it and you bring me a water bottle, please. Right? So so that's called benefiting from it. But here you sold it, right? So you benefited from it, but the money is not teifes damim. It's not. That's what Tosfos says. The money is mutter. There ain't teifes as damim. It's only a direct benefit from the chametz is not allowed. But an indirect, it's allowed. That's what Tosfos is saying.
I hear the chiluk. I get it.
Yeah, or Hashem. Thank you. Naftali, are you on board?
It's not like it's like
I'm not gonna win the argument, but no, from what money is the biggest. Come on, but let's be honest. But money is the biggest sense of enough.
If you do truma and you put it on a coin, so then it's totally in the transaction.
Right.
Totally in getting it just out of your possession. You happen to you sold it, so the money is just still money.
Right. Well, we're saying that the kedusha. Well, normally we say the kedusha goes like truma.
That money is not
goes on. Right. No, the money's not also about. No, that's exactly what we're saying. Right. Very good.
The money is money.
Yeah.
I mean, Naftali, anyway, I would spend $10 to get you upset for no reason. So money is not everything.
Yeah.
But you got enough.
That's right. I got enough. More than the money. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so weiter. So okay. So back in the Gemara. So that's the interesting thing with chametz. Okay. So then the Gemara says, "Lomeli lemisni behema, lomeli lemisni chay." You have. Why does you have to say behema and chay? You're allowed to feed it to your behema, chay and oifus. Why do you need to say all those cases? Tzricha, no, we need it. Ditana behema, di meshayra chazila. If the behema leaves over the chametz, it's not hiding it. You're going to see it, right? So you'll be able to get rid of it, right? But a chaya is going to hide it, so you're not going to know where the chametz is to destroy it when it comes time to destroy it. So you would think you can't feed it, meaning before the zman assur. Kamash that you can. And that's okay. So say chaya, don't say behema. It's good. It's hidden. So out of sight, out of mind. So you're not going to right. So you're going to be mavata your chametz anyways. Maybe he's going to leave it over and you're not going to think about it. And then all of a sudden you're going to go to your barn and you're going to see the chametz. So I would think maybe you can't feed it before this man because you may end up finding chametz tzricha. So it needs to tell you that yes, you can give to both of them. So what about birds? I did Tanna nami oifus because it already said beba chaya, so we already threw oifus. We threw birds into there for the same price. Yeah, fine. You're allowed to sell it to the guy pshita. Well, if you're allowed to eat it and you're allowed to give it to your animal, so why shouldn't we be able to sell it to a guy? So lafuke mehai Tanna de Tanya, right? A fascinating shita, which Baruch Hashem we don't hold like, because then it would knock off the whole bechiras chametz. Yeah. So the Tanya Beishamai yimkar adam chemtza the nachri alim kan yedeva sheyich lekaydim pesach. Beishamai holds you're not allowed to sell chametz to a guy before Pesach unless you know he's going to eat the chametz before Pesach. Meaning, even if you sell the chametz to a guy before Pesach, you have to know that it's out of the world, even if it's owned by a guy. Right? That's shitas Beishamai. Obviously, we don't pasken like that. Otherwise, there'll be no such thing as bechiras chametz.
What if he sells 6 months before and he puts it in storage? So you can never sell it to a guy.
Yes. No, because no. Meaning, if you sell a loaf of bread to a guy, so you can assume a loaf of bread lasts for normal people, so they put it in the freezer, but within a week or 2 weeks, usually they'll take it out and defrost it. You don't have to be worried about the weird case. It's just what would be the normal. You see, that's the lashon. I think
What about a warehouse full of Cheerios?
That might be an issue. Right.
So you're selling it.
Right,
You're selling this to him just to give an extra 3 hours for him to use it. It's just an extra 3-4 hours.
You wouldn't
Once
even
Pesach
be able
actually
to.
hits, it's over.
Correct. No, you're right.
How much you can actually be bought? The guy might have a limit how much he can buy from you. He can't buy a whole neighborhood.
100%.
Right. So you're not. You would not be able. You would not be able to sell chametz to a guy before Pesach unless you know that he is gonna eat it. He's gonna consume it before Pesach. Yeah, that's exactly. Even a week before. It doesn't have to be that day. Right, like you said, Abrami, with a whole factory, if you sold a guy a factory of Cheerios before Pesach, it would have to be with enough time that he'll have enough time to get rid of it. Right?
I'm saying, Beis Shammai held you could never do large-scale commerce of food with a guy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, so you
no, he doesn't have to eat it. He could burn it down also. He doesn't have to actually eat it.
No, he says you have to know for a fact that it's going to be gone.
No, it just has to have the ability, or he has to actually do it.
Does he need to take possession?
No, if you have, even if he takes possession.
What does he need to take possession?
What does it help? Even if he takes possession, if you know that he's not going to get rid of it before Pesach, you're not allowed to sell it to him.
No, because if he needs to take possession, then it would negate everybody else from. You can only do like one person could sell directly to a guy, and that's it. And he's got to do massive moving and all that. And he wouldn't be able to.
Aaron, this is by Shammai. It's not the halacha l'maisa.
That's not the whole situation we have going on every year.
Right, no, according to Beis Shammai, you would have an issue. Right?
It's mashma that this is only on the day of Erev Pesach, though.
Think about how much they would want to charge if we held like Beis Shammai.
Yeah.
There's a very nice in Moedim Halacha by Rav Zevin. There's a very nice discussion of the so-called evolution of Bechilas chametz historically. And
right, I know. Right, he has a very good.
House. It's really worth. Yeah. It's really worth reading.
Yeah, I actually saw part of it. I don't think I made it through the whole thing, but I did. Yeah, you're right, 100%, Doctor. It's a good piece. Well, like all of his.
Of Zevin's work
pieces,
is amazing. But that particular one is how he started off by selling chametz, and the non-Jew would take it to his house, and then like all the different progressions and why it happened. It's fascinating. It's not so frustrating.
Yeah, maybe we should send it out before Pesach or something.
Didn't we also have a Gemara with Red? Didn't we have a Gemara with the Meister that a guy was given a bag of chametz, and he didn't know what to do with it right before Pesach, and he went to Rebbe, and Rebbe told him to wait out till the 5th hour, and then he sold it to the goy.
Yeah, something right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's what. Right, that was Right, that was a few blocks. How long was that?
On like your Dalit or your Gimel.
Something like that. Right. He said wait to the 5th hour. Correct, but he didn't sell it. I mean, because he's not going with Beis Shammai. You're saying that's a proof that he's not going with Beis Shammai.
Right.
Yeah, right. Very good. That's good. You remember that. Pretty impressed. Yes.
You saw the bottom, Rashi?
Yeah, but what's that? We got to see the next. Let's see the next shita first. I mean, I don't know why you're saying it's meduyik from the bottom Rashi.
The whole thing is because it was mitzvah levayir, and 2 days before you don't have a mitzvah levayir.
Why not?
If you do a mechira a week before, you don't have a mitzvah levayir.
Why not?
No mitzvah beer chametz a week before Pesach.
Well, let's see the next shita. Right? Hold on a second. Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira even on Talmud Beis kutach. So now kutach is that kutach is like the herring of back then, right? So kutach is
bread. Kutach hababli.
It's kutach hababli, which is like it's like a mix of bread with yogurts and all sorts of that type of stuff.
Isn't that the problematic bread because it was milchik?
It was but this is bread as one of the ingredients. It's not bread. It doesn't look like bread. It's a dip. Right, to call modern, let's talk modern stuff. It's a dip, right? So how long did dips last? a long time, right? The kutach v'chol mine kutach also limka shloishim yaim kaidem lePesach. You're not allowed to sell it to them 30 days before Pesach. Why? Because it's going to take him 30 days to get rid of this dip. Right now, who's he going like? Very interesting machlokes here. You'd think, okay, so Yehuda ben Beseira is obviously going like Beis Shammai, that you got to sell him you can't sell him the kutach within 30 days because it's chametz in there, right? So that's what Rashi says. Second Rashi says the Sri like Beis Shammai. It's not going to get eaten quickly. You only dip things in. So right, so Gershon, he's clearly learning that's it's only chaling you from 30 days. See, Rami, he say, according to this shita, it's only from 30 days. Once it's before 30 days, you don't have a chiyuv to get rid of chametz, so then it's not an issue. All right, so Taisus, look at Taisus. I'm reading B'Shem Rabbeinu Tam, the Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Asi ki Beis Hillel. He's going with Beis Hillel. The assur b'kutach mishum t'shem bailav olav. The yoidim shehu kutach shaplayne v'yizbru shemachru pesach ha'idei nachri. See, Taisus saying that according to this, it's an ayin, not an ayin hara. It's a maras ayin issue. If people see that you sold the kutach to a guy before 30 days, within 30 days of Pesach, people are going to think, and they're going to see the guy using, whatever company dip it is, Yehamisha dip on Pesach. They're going to think that you sold it to him on Pesach. So that's why he holds it's us. Not because he holds like Beis Shammai. Inami or Taisus second shot, Yizbaru Shabbat Pesach, Marchu Yisrael Lenachri. Or they're going to think, I don't know, okay, whatever it is. Yeah, so that's what he's saying. So that's basically, that's what he's saying. That's what Taisus is saying. So Taisus holds he's going like this Hillel, and it's a Marasayan issue. And Rashi says the more Pashib shot, which is that he's going like Beis Shammai. Right? Fine. Okay. Weiter Gemara. Third line down. Mutter bahana. Right? It's mutter bahana. Pshita. Well, if it's mutter to eat, and you're allowed to feed it to your animals, and you're allowed to feed it, you're allowed to sell it to a guy. So it's mutter bahana pshita. Leitzricha. And this comes up. Charchu kaidem zmanoi. If you shecharchu kaidem zmanoi. It's talking about where you burnt it before the zman. But kamashma gedarava damarava. Charchu kaidem zmanoi mutter bahana afilu lachaz zmanoi. As long as you made it not edible before the zman, then it's mutter the whole Pesach. Look at the Taisus, second Taisus. I know we're doing a lot of Taisus. There's a lot of important Taisus in here. Charku kaidem zmanoi mutter bahana af lachaz zmanoi because shenifsal milechol lekelev the beinon achar b'inyan achar lo yahavi shari dumi the pasha ifser, because if it's not pasal achilas kelev, then that's going to be assur because it's still considered in existence. So therefore, we're not getting into the whole medications thing now. We'll have time in the third parak, Bez Hashem. But the bottom line is, this Gemara is telling you very clearly, if you make that chametz pasal, that a dog won't eat it before Pesach, it's no problem benefiting you from it, right? Now, it doesn't, Taisus here, the Gemara is not discussing eating it. It's just discussing benefiting from it. So deodorants and all this type of things that are not royal achilas kelem, and they were made before Pesach. So what's the problem, right? So what's the problem? So that's why really we pasken that it's not a problem. The machmirim though say that what could happen is that if you can take this deodorant or perfume to a lab and break it back down, and then take away the chametz and make it royal achilas kelev, then that's a machlokes whether we have to be concerned for that. That's why some pasken say better not to have it, etc., etc. Right? But concerned that you're going to do that. No, but since you have the
activity, going to take a case of Head and Shoulders and remanufacture it. That's what you're going to do with your kids' chalamai.
No, so didn't your father once say that there was somebody a politician that was drinking cologne?
Yes.
Right? True. You're right. Very good, Mike. Yeah. That was one of the politicians' wives, I think.
At least she smelled good.
Eddie Ford.
She smelled good and felt good.
I find it hard to swallow.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, Doc, please.
Gotta hold your nose, Doc.
We haven't heard a good joke from him in a while.
I was at a shir once where a guy who had been in a gulag or something, and he said they drank perfume.
Yeah. So no,
but these aren't normal circumstances.
Right. No. So, but this is even if you wouldn't drink it. No, it's not pshat that they're worried that you're going to do it, Rabanan. I really described it wrong. It's not pshat that you're going to do it. Since you have the ability to do it, memela, it's considered chametz.
But we don't have the ability to do it.
You do have the ability. Theoretically, it
no
can
one
be
here
done.
has a $50 million chemical lab.
That's true. So that's what some of the machmirim say.
How do you know?
Unless you have...
How do you know who's on the
Daf? You know, right? Or on YouTube. But
good. Thank you.
But,
won, huh?
No, but
I mean, we won. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm just I'm doing the daf on the Zoom. Can I call you back?
Okay. So so
let's see.
Michael, we don't have to know you're doing the daf.
I don't think there you go. What do you call it? The point is that let's say you have a chair made out of chametz or something like that. As long as it's not made I guess a chair. I don't know. Whatever it is, you have something that's made out of chametz that's made inedible before the zman, then you can sit on it all pesach. That's no problem, right?
Is this Chorchei Gemara raya to the shach on Basar B'chalav soap?
Is it a raya?
It's exactly what he says. It's burnt, so it's not Basar B'chalav.
Right. So, yeah, I could hear. It's mutter ba'ano. Yeah, I could hear that. Very good. Okay, so over zman assur ba'ano, but once the zman passes, assur ba'ano pshita. I'm going to tie this into Chanukah, and I hope the Olam doesn't mind for a minute. But let's finish the Gemara first. We don't only need it for the Rabanan dike hours. We had this Gemara before. If somebody marries a woman from 6 hours and on, right? This talk about a cheap guy. Instead of giving his wife a ring, he gives her some chametz that he's got to get rid of, right? So he's mekadesh afilu b'chiti kordanisa, even with this chiti, this wheat from kordanisa, which is not really so edible, right? Meaning it doesn't really become chametz even. Ein chayshish in the kedushin. The kedushin is nothing. Why? Because 6 hours also midrabanan, right? So when we're saying that over zman assur ba'ano, it's going even according to the Rabanan that it's assur ba'ano, right? So in the Rabanan the hours is 5 hours, 6 hours, yeah. So now just stop to digress where it's just an interesting thing that comes out from Chanukah, right? So the hours on Erev Pesach when you're not allowed to eat chametz is shoyz manius, what we call it. It's halachic hours, right? It's not right 4 hours into the day, 5 hours into the day. It's not necessarily equal, right? So when you have a Ibrior and Pesach is very late, so those hours are probably like an hour and 5 hour and 10 minutes. So you're allowed to eat your chametz later into the day because those are halachic hours, right? I think that's pretty straightforward, right? We can all understand that, right? It doesn't work with a 60-minute hour. It works with a halachic hour, right? So now, what's the shear? Now this halacha gets overlooked by a lot of people. What's the shear to light a menorah? A half hour, right? Most shiurim of time goes with shoyz manius. How long is now it's a night shear, right? Because we're supposed to light the menorah at night. How long is a half hour shoyz manius of Laila? Nowadays, night is around, what is it?
Very long.
15 hours? Night is about
a 45-minute hour right now. I just looked it up.
Right. But during the day, but the night hour is an hour and 15.
Okay.
So therefore, when they say that the sheer menorah is a half hour, it's not a half hour. Almost all poskim agree to this, that the menorah has to be lit for 36, 37 minutes, not 30 minutes.
How come nobody? I don't know it. How come I first found this out now?
Jacques has been saying this for years.
Can't be true if I never heard it. Can't be true.
I never heard it in my life.
Not true. He's been saying this for years.
I said it. I have been saying it for years. I haven't said it. I found one sheet.
We're starting a new company, 38-minute candles. We're going to make a killing.
Right. All of a sudden, tells his candles are no good.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Like we call up tells and make a macha. That's a good idea.
Wait until Rav Gifter was nifted to say, come out with this pesach.
I'm not. Yeah. Listen, the Chazon Ish says it's 36 minutes. A couple other sheets. I found one opinion that says.
I'm saying I never heard.
No,
this
it's interesting. I know it. I don't. Rabanan, I think you have a lot of company.
The The other issue is
Why
when
did you say?
When is the 30-minute start?
Well, that's a different story. But whatever the shear is, it's the 30-minute shear is really 36 to 37 minutes.
Why did you say that the candles on Friday night have to be lit to 6:10? It really should be 6:18.
Is that
no? Because Shkia is at 28.
dependent?
Shkia is at 28. But you're right, Naftali. I should change it.
Right.
You're right. You're right. I should change it. What are you saying, Elio?
Is that location dependent?
Yes, of course.
So you could have a place where saying you could have a place where it's like 5 minutes also, right? It goes both ways.
We base everything on New York time.
You know, the New Yorkers, we think we run the world, but
what do you mean?
Would you say that would you say that Lakula also? If that I don't know, Alaska.
Yes, of course.
So then the candles only have to burn for 3 minutes in Alaska. That would be fine.
Again, if you crunch the numbers and that's what you come out with, that's what most pasken say. Yes, 100%. I'm going to tweet it out, and I'm sure going to get a lot of flack for it. I mean, that's the way it goes. Okay, I'm saying it's good for the limud shabai, but most pasken say.
I'm willing to bet that you tweeted it last year.
I think I did. Yes. Yeah. Anyways, whatever it is. So, but any halachic hours, the Rabbanans, the Raises are all based on what the hour is there.
Wait,
okay, fine.
Does Twitter put in a little comment on yours that there's a disagreement about this, like to do with Trump?
they would probably do that with everything, all right? Because yeah.
I just want to make sure Aaron's okay.
Twitter won't let it go.
And we can move on. You okay, Aaron? Everything's okay?
What you said? And what you said? I'm sorry.
He wants to know if you're ready, if you're okay. We can go right there.
100%. I have nothing. I'm not in charge of anything.
What? Yeah, Velo Yasik. I wrote the speech. Okay, Velo Yasik Poitana Mikirai. Oh shoot! Sorry. Just hey, Velo Yasik Poitana Mikirai. But he can't. You watch the wrong way. Just relax. So you can't use it to light the oven. Yeah, pshita. Like pshita, like Rabbi Yehuda Damar ain't for your chametz el esreifa. We're going according to my Damar that said, like Rabbi Yehuda says that when you burn chametz, you have to burn it. Since Rabbi Yehuda says that the mitzvah is bisreifa, so good. So why can't I get benefit from it while I'm burning it? Kamash Malan, that you're not allowed to benefit from it when it's burning. Right? Fine. So Amar Chizkiya. So Chizkiya says, "Minayin l'chametz b'pesach." Now this sugi is going to take us for a good few blot. Okay, so this part is pretty easy, but the Gemara goes back and forth. So Amar Chizkiya, "Minayin l'chametz b'pesach." How do we know chametz is also bad? No, shenemra lo yochel chametz. You should not eat chametz. Lo yehei by heter achila. Do not. It does not have a heter achila, meaning, and it's interesting. Rashi says, "What do you mean? What does achila have to do with hano?" So Rashi says, all benefits eventually make it back to achila, right? At the end of the day, right? You can make money, do this, do that. Bottom line is, it all gets down to food, right? So it's saying, lo yei ochel chametz. I'm sorry, I said lo yei chametz. The whole point is that it says yei ochel. It doesn't say yochel chametz. Lo yei ochel chametz. Chametz shouldn't be eaten. Lo yei by heter achila. There should be no heter of eating at all. Because the reason is because the Torah wrote it lo yei achel chametz haloi kasav lo yei achel, but if it didn't say lo yei achel hava amina isra achila mashma, I would have thought that it's isra achila isra no loy mashma, but isra no it's not mashma. Pliga, right? So that's what it is. Meaning, if it just said lo yei achel, I would think you're not allowed to eat chametz, but you're allowed to benefit from it. And Kamashmal, it says lo yei achel, tells you you're not even allowed to benefit from it. Pliga Rabahu, Damar Rabahu, Kamakum should never lo yei achel lo yochel lo seichel lo seichlu. Anytime it says any of those lashonos, echad isra achila, echad isra hana mashma, then that's mashma whether it's isra achila or it's isra hana. That's his opinion. Anytime it says lo yochel in the Torah, that means you're not allowed to benefit from it, right? So that means by Pesach too. Until the Torah tells you are allowed to benefit the way you benefited from where it says by nevela, as we're going to get to in a minute. Right now, Taisus asks again. There's an interesting Taisus here. So if you are nene from chametz on Pesach, are you chayiv kares? Yeah. According to this opinion, anytime it says the word achila means assur b'hana. So what does the pasuk say? It says ki kol oichel chametz b'nichrusa. Anybody who eats chametz, you get kares. That means oichel. It says oichel. That means that if you benefit from chametz, you chayav kares. Now we all know that there is no kares if you just benefit from chametz. It's only if you eat it, right? So that's what Taisa says. That's what Taisa is asking. But so he says it has to be lo yochel. Taisus answers it says to be lo yochel. There it means b'hana. Just if it says ki kol yochel, that doesn't mean also b'hana. Okay. Anyways, but the sheet of Avahu is anytime it says the word lo yochel in the Torah, any form of it, it means assur b'hana, unless the pasuk tells you specifically it's mutter b'hana. What is it by nevela? Now a nevela again is animal that was not shechted. The Tanya lo yisaychel kol nevela. Don't eat all nevela ger sheb'sherech tznan v'achla. Give it to a ger, or sell it to a guy. Right? So if you have a nevela, you are allowed to sell it to a guy. This only tells you that you give it to the ger and you sell it to the guy. How about selling it to the ger? How do you know? Meaning, do you have to give it to a guy? Gemara is asking, do you have to dafka give it to a ger and sell it to a guy? Or can you even sell it to a ger? Now, a ger here doesn't mean a ger tzedek, because he's obviously a yid. Talking about a ger taishav who just makabel sheva mitzvahs b'nei noyach. So Talmud again, the ger mebechira minayin. How do you know you're allowed to sell it to a ger? Talmud the ger asher b'sherech t'nena oy machar l'nachri. It says you give it to a ger, or you sell it to a guy. But nesina minayin. I'm sorry. Talmud the ger asher b'sherech t'nena oy machar. You can do one or the other. L'nachri ben asina minayin. How do you know that you're allowed to give it to a guy? Talmud t'nena v'achla oy machar l'nachri. It says or sell it to a guy. Nimtzas aimer echad ger ve'echad nachri be'im mechira be'im nesina divrei meir. It's whether you can do anything you want. Whether it's giving it to a ger, selling it to a ger, giving it to a guy, selling it to a guy. That's Rameir's shita. Yudaimer dvarim kichsava. No, it goes exactly the way the pasuk says it. The ger ben nesina or l'nachri mechira. You're allowed to give it to a ger and you're allowed to sell it to a guy. You're not allowed to do the opposites. My time with the Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda say it has to be specifically what it says in the pasuk? Because he says if you hold like Rameir that everything goes, why does it say oy lam lishma? I mean, it's telling you dafka the way we're saying it, not any other way. So what's Rameir going to say to that? Rameir says no. You are allowed to give it to the ger, or sell it to the ger, or give it to the guy. But the priority is we'd rather you give it to a ger than sell it to a guy. We'd rather you give it to a ger than to make money from the guy. Rabbi Yehuda, halay tzara, right? But Rabbi Yehuda, he says you don't need a pasuk. Keep that for that. You don't need a pasuk. Keep it the ger out the mitzvah l'achiyasa. Since a ger you mechuyev to let him live, but nachri out the mitzvah l'achiyasa, and a guy you're not required to make him live. Like tzara. That's svarahu. That's therefore you don't need a pasuk. That's a svara. Of course, you should give it to the guy first. Give it to the ger first before selling it to the guy. Fine. Now, Bishlam the Rameir Domer Echad Ger Echad Nachri Beim Mechir Beim Nesina. So according to the Rameir who holds you can do either way, give it or sell it to a guy. We did to call the Mishna in the Veil of Hano. So this that the Torah says that you're allowed to. The veil is obviously mutter b'hana. It's not assur b'hana. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do either one. You wouldn't be able to give it to a ger or sell it to a guy. So then every other mitzvah in the Torah is assur bein ba'achila. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says the pasuk is the way it's written, how do you know that everything's assur in the Torah? That's any time it says achila in the Torah, it's assur b'hana. Right? You need the pasuk to tell you specific reasons here that it's telling you for specific orders. And the Gemara says, no, he has a different way. This is by treif. When you have a treif animal, you give it to a dog. Right, on to the next Amud. Right, and now my iPad froze. There we go. You're allowed to give treif to a dog, but you're not allowed to give anything else to a dog. Anything else, any other is in the Torah. Dafka treif. And why treif? As everybody knows, because they didn't bark. When the Yidden were leaving Mitzrayim, the dogs didn't bark. So this is their reward that you're allowed to give them treif. So what does a mayor do with the oisai? Because he doesn't need it. He can learn it out from the Vela. That you're allowed to send to the dog, but you're not allowed to give the dog chulin that got shechted outside of the Beis Hamikdash. The other shita holds that chulin that was shechted in the Azor is not deraisa. So basically, we have two ways. There's a Machlokes. We're gonna be doing this with a lot. So we'll chaz this again tomorrow. But according to Avahu, he says anytime it says lo yachal lo seichel, it's an assur hana. Right. The only question is, how do we learn out that all other mitzvahs in the Torah, when it says assur, it's not assur, it's assur bahana? Because so according to one shita, it's from treifa, and from the other treifa, and the other one it's learned out from the veil. Stam agav, an interesting thing, right? The reason, one of the tainas that they have on the kashrus agencies, why kosher meat is so expensive. What is a kosher slaughterhouse? What is a kosher shlachtos have to? What do they do with their meat that's not treif? Now supposedly 40% is treif, give or take. So what do they do with it? So if it was asa bahana, nothing, you'd have to throw it out. But Baruch Hashem, it's not asa bahana, so they sell it. Right? So they sell it. So they make a few dollars, but they make pennies on the dollar that they would make if it's kosher. Right? But a lot of the stuff is not glot, but it's kosher. But the kashrus agencies all choose to not sell, except for Triangle K, right? They all choose not to sell not glot. If they would sell, so people tied on them, if you would let the slaughterhouse, the shechita houses sell non-glot, instead of getting a few pennies on the dollar, they would still be able to get a little bit more money, and then the glot meat would come down, right? Meaning they have to make a certain amount from each animal, or from all the animals that they have. So they're just getting rid of some of it as treif. They're not getting as much as if they would sell it as kosher, but just non-glot, right?
What's it called? I forgot his name. The kashrus Rav from Lakewood had like a whole campaign on that a few years ago.
Yeah. So there's people that have those that are trying to push them, but they used to in the old days, and they stopped. But whatever it is, that whole shiloh only comes about because neveil and treifa is mutter to be sold to goyim because it's mutter bahana.
Yeah, but that doesn't make a lot of sense though, because you're still not doing the back half and nicker and things like that. You're still, even with the kosher animals, the glot kosher animals, you're still losing a quarter of it, the back quarter of it.
Right.
And so
that's true, but that you can't do anyways. But you still, but let's say they have a whole animal that instead of selling it as non-kosher, they could sell it as kosher, just not glot. They'll make more money, and then they can pull down the prices of glot. Right?
I hear.
That's all. Yeah. Anyways, okay, I got to go to a Hanukkah party, whatever it is. Okay, good tvach.
It's been in the papers the past week. There's a big lawsuit about the price gouging in chickens. The major players, Chick-fil and Tyson, all the big. So Chick-fil is suing Tyson. They pay, monster quantities, but treif chicken costs 31 cents a pound wholesale.
How much is kosher? And how much is kosher?
I don't even
a little bit more than that.
What was the name of that essay about selling chametz that the doctor was talking about before?
Rabbi, I forgot the name of his sefer.
Rav Zevin.
Doctor, you remember? Rav Zevin, but there's a name, there's something. Mayadim,
in the Hebrew name is Hamodim B'Halacha, and they also have it like in English with some similar thing.
They have it translated into English.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like a blue sefer.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I have
the old ones. I don't know. There's old.
Yeah, the old one.
There's one in
you have it.
English, very good translation. Except they leave out a few important things.
Okay, fine. A good talk, everybody.
Enjoy your party. Don't sound too happy about it.
Yeah, thank you. All right,
Yaakov.
Yes.
There's a good shtickle from Itai.
Yeah. Itai, when was that video from that you sent me?
Last year, not today.
I hear.
But
who's the lady? His wife is alive?
No, he got remarried.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did it himself. Okay. No shadchan. He called her up. The master if she wanted to get married.
Yes.
Yeah, she's from England. But he has a good shtickle from Chassam Sofer holds that Zichul Anes is a Doraisa. That's why he holds that Purim and Chanukah are Doraises.
Yes,
so yes. He said that the Rabanan and Sheknes is a Gdoila, so the Hoydis Shabbat by Chanukah is the way to be to that mitzvah. So he said,
so how?
Through the Hoydis Shabbat, through Halal and lining the menorah. So Rabbi time is that if you want to be Yotzim Doraisa, the sheet of the Chassam Sofer by eating latkes and by eating sufganiyot, the chayra by that you can be Yotzim Doraisa that way. Even though they're Rabanan.
Then I'm hanging up right now. I'm out of here. Very good. Now you're giving me mechazik mida. I'm going to stuff my face, and then I'm going to be mekayim at the rice. Do I have to do ketei achilas pras? Do I without breathing?
Wait, can you repeat that again? Good. I want to hear that. What was the
sure. The Chassam Sofer has a whole on Daf Vav in Chedush Chassam Sofer. He has a whole mahalach that Purim and Chanukah are both doraisas, because there's a doraisa concept that anytime Hashem does a miracle, you have a doraisa. Does a miracle, you have a doraisa.
Right.
So Chazal created ways. The Anshe Knesset created ways in order to remember that. By Purim, it's by having the Suda, Megillah, Matanas of Yonim. By Chanukah, we have to light the candle.